before you drill or spar or train, you need to warm up your body as well as your brain. So whether it's before class or just part of your day, you can get yourself ready the Longsword way. Hey friends, today we're going to talk about the importance of warming up and workouts involving the sword. And this comes to us because Nate44, or is it Knate44? Anyway, Nate wanted to know about workouts that you can do with the sword. How do you work out your body for sword fighting when you're not in class? And really, I do the same thing that I do as a warm-up in class. Now, we're not really debating the nature of what goes into a workout, and every club is going to have different ideas. Some play games that promote balance and hand-eye coordination. Some do high-intensity interval training, HIIT. Whatever it stands for. Me, if I'm teaching sword, I'm going to make you do warm-up with a sword in your hand. Because you're there to play with swords. That's why people come to class. It's cool to play with swords. So all of the warm-up stuff that we do to get ready before we get into drills and before we get to sparring or controlled free play or whatever we're going to do that day. It also depends on what equipment people have. It's all going to involve the sword. We got to get warm. You got to wake up these joints. You got to wake up your muscles. You got to get your tendons ready. Okay? So this is what we do. I have everyone stand with their feet about 1.5 shoulder width apart. And I make sure you bend your knees. So I tell them to bend your knees. Close your eyes. Bend your knees. Make sure you find your balance. Feel good. Feel focused. Remember to breathe while you're doing all of your exercise routines. Breathing is important. Keep your body loose and flowing and moving. Get rid of the tension. Don't grip. Don't tense. Breathe. Let it all out. If you're holding in the tension, you're going to injure yourself. And the whole point of warming up is to avoid injuries and don't want you to injure yourself in the warm-up. So the first thing that we do, once we're balanced, now I got to be careful because the ceiling is not high in the studio. Certainly a lot higher in the fitness studio and the gymnasiums that we use. But I have everyone do this kind of overhead. So you bring the sword all the way back behind you, and you're doing it directly over your head. But I can't do that in here because I hit the ceiling, and then stuff falls, and I got to start the recording again. But we do this, so I usually do about 10. If you're worried about that, you can just keep it to this. But really, this is getting your arms warmed up. You definitely want your shoulders warmed up. Okay? The next thing I have them do, point the sword in front of them, turn it to the side, kind of crump-how motions. Twist and untwist the sword. Cross your wrists, uncross your wrists. Cross your wrists, uncross your wrists. And we do that a bunch of times, slowly. We don't do this super fast. We're not doing this for speed. We're doing this for repetition. We are getting things awake. We want to get those forearms, the tendons going. Okay? We want to get them all stretched out. We want our wrists to be loose and flowing. We don't want them sounding like pencil sharpeners grinding away. We want everything to be opened up. So we've got our arms ready to go. Okay? I usually throw in some squats at this point because we also need to worry about our knees. So more than just bending, I usually throw in 5 squats. Why? Well, you can do lots of squats at home. I can do them on my own. I don't need to do them all in class. But we're just getting the body a little bit awake before we go into drills. Okay? So we do some squats. Okay, remember to keep your back straight. You're really just getting your knees. That's all a squat really is. Don't do that. Don't bend over. Okay. Other things that we do. Stand in place. And whether you call it Zwerchau or Zwerchau or Zwerchau or Twerchau, depending on the source, from the German perspective, we're going to do our cross cuts. We're going to do them standing still with our knees bent, practicing our breathing. Of course, I have the advantage of being able to talk since I'm leading this warm-up. So I don't have to worry about, am I holding my breath? I'm always talking, I'm always exhaling, I'm leading everyone through it. And we do the same routine every class, but I still talk my way through it every time. I'm sure the students, you're tired of hearing me, you know what to do, but I do it because it keeps me breathing. And I want to exhale. Okay, so we've got our hips starting to move a little bit in that. We don't want to do full hip movements on our cross cuts, but we do want to put a little bit of a move into it. Okay, we've done all this stationary. What are we going to do next? Well, part 5 is we're going to do guard transitions. I like doing guard transitions because that means footwork. And footwork is always important. Your balance, remembering to bend your knees, remember to control your breathing, be loose. And it's going to work on our cardio a little bit, so we do a bunch of guard transitions. So I could have up to 16 guards, but of course, flug or plow on the right is 1. Plow on the left, that's 2. Ox, that's, now we're at 4. But I'm gonna spare you going through all of the different guard positions that you could be in, but we do the footwork. And depending on the space, we're mostly gonna do backwards and forwards. Sometimes it'll be stuttering steps, sometimes it'll be passing steps, but we'll switch our guards, we'll do a whole bunch of different ones, and we're getting our whole body moving now. So we've started to warm up the different pieces, now we're bringing them all together, we're doing our guard transitions, and then of course the last thing that we do, cutting drills. So whether we're doing Meyer square and I'm calling out numbers and people are cutting in the direction, or whether we're just doing an 8 cut combo, whatever, we start doing some cutting, and we do it with a step forward, step backwards, passing, getting the whole body moving. And I find that it gets everyone into a good frame of mind. Everyone is focused on doing sword stuff. They're holding swords and they're happy. It's not super intense, so everyone can do it no matter their fitness level, but it gets everyone up and ready. And then we can get into showing drills and doing the drills, but the body is awake. It's warm. It's moving. And that's really what you want. And so you can do this as a daily workout if you want to keep those muscles and tendons and joints, everything used to performing all of these moves, all of these motions. And you can add to it. You can do your own solo drills on the end of all of this. If you have a pel, do pel work. If you have a heavy bag, you can gently use your sword against, do that. But I recommend doing it with the sword because then your body's getting used to that resistance, okay? Every club is different. The nature of warm-ups are always going to be different, and everyone has an opinion. All I'm doing is sharing what we do in class to get ourselves ready to go for doing sword stuff. And we do it all with the sword. So that's it. That's the routine. And you can do that every day or a couple times a week when you're not in class to keep yourself in relatively good form for doing your warm-ups and your drills and moving into sparring, free play, whatever it is that you have at the end of class. And then make sure you take some time to cool down a bit at the end, walk around a little bit, drink water, stay hydrated. All important stuff at the end of whether you're just doing this workout at home or it's part of your class session. Anyway, thanks Nate for the recommendation for the video, and thanks to all of you. We're at 1,030 subscribers as of time of recording. That's really cool. If you have not seen the 1,000 subscriber celebration video, go watch. It's chaotic and it's only a couple minutes long. And if you haven't subscribed, well, I'd appreciate, clicking the button, and likes are good. And comments, of course, help shape the content of the channel, so those are most appreciated. But until next time, friends, do remember, take care, stay safe, keep warm, and keep on swinging.